Happy Saturday, everyone. It's Greg Dixon here with the Note Center, and today we're talking to Dr. Ivan Terrero. He's in Florida, works as a dentist, a practicing dentist, had his own dentist practice, but he has been involved with real estate investing for quite a long time, quite a few decades, I think. And today we're going to ask Ivan to describe how he got involved with real estate investing, the kinds of things he's done, and what he's looking for um, moving forward. So I know him through note investing, the note investing space, but you've done much more than that over the years.
Yes, thanks for having me on, Greg. Yes, I've been involved in real estate investing for about 25 years now. And the way I got started was actually more than that. The way I got started was about 30 years ago. I was reading an ad in the New York Times real estate section, and the ad said, "Lot for sale in Cape Coral." I was vaguely familiar with Cape Coral back then since I had lived in a summer in Hollywood, Florida during the 80s. So I picked up the newspaper and called the number, and they told me about there was a vacant lot for sale in Cape Coral. So back then we didn't have any internet, so they sent me a map of the area, and I bought the lot sight unseen. So I had that lot in my possession for about a year and a half, and there was a developer in the area who was doing something unique, which I didn't hear about, didn't know about at that time. It was a build to own model, meaning that we would build a house, find a tenant, and the tenant would pay us uh, to purchase the property by paying rent at the same time. So that was my first foray into real estate. And hindsight is always 2020. If I would have known then what I know now, I would have kept that lot. But that lot led to me to buying about seven more lots in the area in Cape Coral and in Lehigh Acre. And we use the same model. We built houses, rent to own, and that served as a function for them because for the tenants and buyers, because at that time they weren't qualified for a traditional mortgage. These were people that had their own businesses, they had cash businesses, and they couldn't qualify for a conventional mortgage. And what I had was a partner in the area who would vet these prospective buyers for me. And that led me to my first path in real estate. Fast forward, I was introduced to another person who, through that person, we bought a lot in St. Cloud, and it was the same model. And that property, let's stop right there. Let's can you edit that out? That's not my thoughts. My thoughts went far ahead. Okay.
Yeah. So this
Um,
is live, so there isn't editing. So,
oh, okay. So you can't edit it afterwards.
yeah,
So
it's
we
it's
start
more
all
fun
over.
that way.
Can we can we start all over again?
Yeah. No. Anyway. So okay. So so you were doing these rent to own properties, and
Okay.
were you
So
building them?
so I was not building them.
Okay.
The My partner, which was the real estate agent, he had a construction company, so he was building out the properties.
Yeah.
And the good thing about those properties is that they appeared to be much larger than they were. This was in the late 90s,
Right.
and the properties again appeared much larger than they really were. It was a standard three-bedroom, two-bath house.
Right.
And through that company, we had expanded into the Orlando area, and we built a house rent to own. And this was my first foray into into experiencing the negative side of real estate. So this person signed all the contracts, everything was ready to go. Long story short, this person stopped paying the mortgage for 6 months. It took us 7 months to remove this person from the house. And when we finally got that person out, they owed us. 7 months of worth of rent, and they had $15,000 worth of repairs that we had uh, to clean up the house to put it back on the market. So during those 6 months, guess who was getting their payment religiously the first of the month? That was the bank.
The bank, yes.
So I had to pay the mortgage. So that was my first foray into note investing.
Yeah.
However, that was the negative side of note investing because I had to pay the bank. And during around that time, my brother, who was an accountant, had some clients in the New York, New Jersey area where they couldn't qualify for conventional business loans. They needed small loans, and he approached me to see if I can fund them their needs. So I was, bless you, the lender of last resort. And this was a risk on my part, but because my brother knew them and could vet
Yeah.
and vouch for them, they had been clients for him for a long time. I extended a couple of loans to these individuals and they paid me back. Actually, three of them paid me back. All three of them paid me back on time.
Oh, that's
So
fabulous.
that's fabulous, yes. And how I got started in the note of it, actually, let me go back. If you've ever had a credit card balance, a car payment, or a mortgage, you've been in the note business. Like I said, you've been in the note business, but on the wrong side of the note business
Yes.
because you're paying the bank. So by by becoming the bank, you are in the note business because you're receiving payments on a monthly basis. So fast forward, uh, I got out of the real estate market. I got into the stock market. I'm not going to go into the details of the stock market, but I bought a small mobile home here in Florida and I actually rented that mobile home out to the tenant. And after 8 months, the tenant approached me asking me if they were able to buy the home for me. And I said, "This is great. I will sell the home to you." And we wrote out a contract and they paid me off on time. And quite frankly, when I compared that experience to my previous experience as being a landlord in the Orlando area, this was a no brainer. And also, during that time, I was doing a fix and flip. And basically, the fix and flip did not go as well as we planned. I wound up losing money. Of course, it's not good when someone loses money. And shortly thereafter, I bought another mobile home, which I call the Texas T. The Texas T because it was in Texas and the borrower worked for the oil company, for an oil company in Texas. So what happened was we drew up a contract. It was a 3-year contract. They paid us religiously until year two. At year three, they stopped making some payments. They were late on their payments. So what we did is that we modified the loan and we extended it from 3 years to 5 years. So what that did for us is that it helped them stay in their house and it avoided me from becoming another landlord. But all this was already baked in the contract because if they stop payment for a month, if they were late with the payment, they would have fees. Again, by the third time they were late with their payments, the servicer reached out to them and we were able to modify their loan. In this case, because the borrower had such a good history of payment. So I think that personally for me, I will never do another fix and flip. I don't think I'll ever want to own a rental because it is just too much work. I think that everyone should be in the no business on the right side of the no business.
Yeah. So what do they
There,
say? No tenants, toilets, and termites?
no tenants, no toilets, no termites.
Yeah.
I mean, there
Yeah.
is space for people who want to have rentals, and I can see that could be something attractive.
Yeah.
But for me, I think I am firmly entrenched in the note space.
Okay. And as you said, because you became the banker,
Mhm.
you had flexibility. So you also allowed people to stay in their homes even if they had some financial issues, some trouble. And I think in your Texas tea example, at the end of it, you ended up making more money because you were flexible with the borrower.
Yes, I wound up making more money because the original loan duration was 3 years. We extended it out to 5 years because we added the fees and we accepted partial payments and we added that to the end of the loan.
Yeah. No, that's fabulous, and that's the kind of thing that you don't get with a bank.
No,
So,
banks are not too friendly. Once, if you're late, and they'll take steps to take that home back from you.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think with the group, you and I are involved with the group, and one of the speakers there, how she was in the banking business as a banker, and she was found herself being a little bit heartbroken about how, having to put people out of their homes. So she started sending them to other alternative note investing kind of financing models, and then she eventually got out of the bank and then started doing it herself. Yeah, so that's the human touch of the whole thing,
Yeah, I
really.
think it can. My objective is to keep the borrower in the house, and I don't want to be the homeowner, and we'll take the steps necessary to keep them in that house. Of course, if they don't pay and we've done as much as we could to keep them in the house, then we have no other recourse but to remove them from the house.
Yeah, and that is the one thing with the note investing is you do have the property in the house as security for.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it may be awkward. It may take some time, but you will get your investment back in one way or the other.
yes. And I've been fortunate enough since that fiasco in the Orlando area that I have not have had to remove a homeowner from the house. So there are
Yeah,
legal steps that we can take to remove someone. Again, that's not my objective. My objective is to keep
yeah,
that person in the house.
and and sometimes it's the easier path because in some states it's almost impossible to evict somebody. To
Yes. There are
yeah,
certain states, mostly in the Northeast, where they are very tenant friendly. It's almost impossible to remove a person. There was a case a couple of years back where the person was squatting in this house for 20 years. And I don't know how it can go on that long, but apparently it did.
yeah, yeah. That's one of the hazards for sure. So your first language is Spanish, and
Yes.
and you have an interest in attracting and working with other Hispanic investors. So do you want to say a bit more about that?
I know your Spanish is not that good, but please humor me. Okay. Sí, mi primer idioma es español y mi interés es para que los hispanos puedan aprender de invertir en notas hipotecarias, de aprender cómo ser el banco, porque de una vez que una persona es el banco, tiene más poder adquisitivo y uno puede ayudar a más personas. Así como yo ayudé el bodeguero a través de mi hermano, puedo ayudar a otras personas a conseguir una entrada fija al mes para su cartera de inversión. Y esa inversión está respaldada por algo real, algo tangible, que es una casa. I'm sure you understood everything I said, right?
Yeah, perfectly. So, so you're looking for not only just in America, but also Central America and South America.
Yes.
Spanish is spoken in a lot of countries, and
Yes.
so yeah,
Yes. Y también yo me gustaría, es un sueño mío, ayudar a otras personas en otros países latinoamericanos de habla hispana, eh, poder enseñarles cómo invertir en Estados Unidos, porque yo sé que en muchos países las inversiones no son seguras. Aquí en Estados Unidos su inversión está segura y está respaldada por las leyes aquí en Estados Unidos. Así es que yo invito a cualquier persona que esté fuera de Estados Unidos, que quiera invertir y conseguir una entrada fija, respaldada por algo tangible como una casa, comunicarse conmigo.
Okay.
I give an invitation on anyone outside of the United States that would want to invest in notes here in the United States backed by tangible property.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your website is thenotedoctor.com.
Yes.
I put that in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And at the Note Center too, I also posted an article on this with your LinkedIn connection and also your website connection, and there will be people will be able to watch this video and this interview again.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. Yes. And para los que hablan español, el sitio web se puede traducir al idioma castellano. So the website, you can read it in Spanish also.
In Spanish too, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So any last comments before we let people continue on with their Saturday?
I think that everyone should be involved in investing. Of course, everything has a risk, and you should evaluate that risk if it is for you. But what I have found with my experience is that note investing takes less time than traditional real estate investing because you are the bank. Think of it this way: if you've never seen a banker shovel snow or mow the lawn or
Yes.
look for tenants or evict tenants. So there's a reason why banks don't flip houses, because that's where they're in the money business.
They're in the money business. Yeah. So it's all the paper business, the money business.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be a lien lord versus a landlord.
Yeah. And in a time when there's uncertain future, like a recession or some other things, the note investing world can be relatively safe. You can it's flexible, I think.
Yes, it's very flexible. Yeah, notes offer a very flexible investment. You can buy notes on houses, on apartment buildings, on commercial buildings. So it's very, very flexible.
Very, very flexible. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Ivan, and I hope everybody got something out of this, and will reach out, especially the people in the Spanish-speaking world throughout Spain, even, I guess, or South America, Central America. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, and enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.